Hello and welcome to day one of Launch Your Internet Business. As we've noted before, we're going to focus on setting everything up in the Amazon AWS, Amazon's web services. We're going to set that up, get our server going, and launch our business from there. We're going to take advantage of the free tier and several low-cost and easily scalable options that they have. The first thing, we want to dive right into it, and we want to register for an AWS account. If you go to portal.aws.amazon.com/billing/signup /start, then you'll be able to jump to this page. You can also go to the aws.amazon.com page, and you can find registration links there. First thing you need to do is you have to have an email address. So I'm going to do, for this one, I set one up. Book at gmail.com. So I set up a Gmail account. Those are easy enough to do. You can go to Gmail, and if you've got a normal account, you want to add a new one, then go in there and you'll go in like you're going to switch to another account. You can select add and add a new account. It's pretty easy to do. I'm going to go ahead and give it a password. This is my password for Amazon. So I'm going to create an account for this email address. My password, I'm going to set. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to give it an AWS account name. And I want to remember that. I want to remember both the email address and the account name. And of course the password, although you do have a forgot password option. I'll go ahead and continue. Oh, and I have to enter my address properly. Now at this point, what it's going to do is it's going to ask you whether this is a personal or professional account type. And what you can see here is pretty straightforward. Select professional if you intend to use this AWS account within your company, educational institution, or organization. Otherwise, select personal. The difference between these two is not with billing or anything like that. It really is more to do with some of the options that are available and some of the things that they're going to do as far as setting up your account and being able to access it. If you go the personal route, it's going to be a little easier because there's really just one user that's going to get into your account. There's a couple other security type settings that are going to be all driven by your primary account. If it's professional, then there's going to be some other options to add multiple users and some things like that. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and leave it professional. Company name, we'll go with, well, let's not do that. Let's do... the company name will be Broadhead Publishing. We'll call it that. Well, no, we don't want to do that. We'll call it the same since it's not really required. We're going to give it a phone number if we want to. We're going to give it our state. We're going to give it an address, a billing address, city, state, postal code. So this is the basic stuff. Then we're going to come down here and we're going to go ahead and indicate that we've read the terms of agreement. Probably wouldn't hurt to take a look at those. So let's go and get that information entered in, and then we're going to click Create Account and Continue. Once we've entered an account, we've got a contact address if we want to use that for our billing, but we're going to go ahead and we do have to give it a credit card number. We want to give it something that they're not going to charge it right away. Well, they will charge it. It's I believe they do two now. Sometimes they do one, but typically they do two charges that are, I think they're 50 cents or lower. They're going to do a pair of charges to that account because they basically want to verify that it is a valid account. And then they will end up crediting those back as well. So it's not a major, it's not a big charge or anything like that. After that, it's just so that you will be charged based on if you go nuts and add a whole lot of services. We'll talk our way through it as we go on these. You can also check your billing options on a regular basis. You can even do daily. You can even put some alerts on and some things like that to make sure that you get warned if you do actually get billed for anything. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to enter some credit card information. And then once we've done that, we're going to put our information in and they're going to hit Secure Submit. As soon as you may have, I hope you didn't pause, because as soon as you hit the information for your credit card, you're going to get they're going to basically call a phone number. Not basically, they're going to go ahead and call a phone number. They're going to display I think it's usually a 4 or 6 digit number on the screen. They're going to call you up. It's an automated thing. They want you to enter those numbers into the automated call, and then you give it a second or two and it'll kick through on the other side and you'll be able to progress to this screen that we see here. This is to verify who you are. So you're going to have, as we noted from the start, you're going to have a credit card number and a phone number, and you just received a call on it. So assuming that all that's good, the next thing you end up with after you've cleared the phone screen there is they're gonna ask for a support plan. For us, we're just gonna stick with free. You can do some extra stuff if you wanted to, but for now, let's just keep it free. We can always worry about. You can add support plans on at a later point if you really desire to do so. So now we are through. We've gone through this. They're going to activate the account. It should take just a couple of minutes, and you're going to receive an email at that point. So let's go ahead and we'll hang out here. You can pause and come back when you get that email. Okay, so now we're back. We've got our email. You're going to get something along this lines, and they're going to have a nice little link for getting started resources. I would hold on to this email because there's some information there you may want to look at. But once you've got that, then we can flip back over to where we were registering. We're going to sign into the console, and we're going to give it the name of our account that we just created. Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, we're going to do sign in using. We're going to go in. We're going to sign into a different account. We're going to sign in using our email address. We're going to enter our password that we just entered. So hopefully we have not forgotten it. If we did, we can do forgot password. And we are now into our homepage. Typically, when you log into Amazon, you're going to see something like this. You're going to see potentially some recently visited services. I think that is regardless of what account you're on. If you have multiple accounts, it's going to save some of that information. It's some cookies, I believe it's going to save. So you can see some recent things you've looked at. You can also click here and see all of the services and notice that they have quite a few. What we're concerned about today is we're going to talk about EC2. Now, I'm going to give you the short answer first, is if you go to Lightsail in setting up a server, we can pick our language, and they have a as we see here, it's a pretty easy way to create an instance. So we select a location. It can be pretty much, you can see this. It's going to be different areas that you can go to. We're just going to stay with US East 2 in this case, just because. You can select a platform, and then you can select blueprints. So for example, if you wanted to do a lamp stack, then what you're going to see here, and you can see all of this down at the bottom, is what do these mean? These are going to set stuff up for you so that you will get your server plus a whole lot of all of the things that you need to run whatever the applications are. If you look down at the bottom here, you can see that your plan, if there's like a minimum, then you'll see that there is some stuff there that may be cheaper or maybe not. You can add some launch scripts. You can set up an SSH pair. So once you get past your first one, you may want to go this way. You can also do operating system only. I just want to show that Lightsail has some pretty cool stuff once you get past your first one. When you get it, there may be some additional things that it's going to set up, so we're better off going back here to AWS. Instead, we are going to just manually launch ours. So we're going to go to EC2. If you didn't see it up there, just type EC2, the letter E, the letter C2, no spaces, and you're going to see this screen. You're going to see your dashboard. So the first thing we want to do is we can go right here and we're going to launch an instance. You can do it from a template or the regular one. We don't have a template, so we're going to go ahead and launch it. First thing you need to do is pick your operating system, which is your base setup, your base configuration. So we are going to do the Amazon Linux, and let's check here just to be safe. We're going to click free tier only because this means these are the things that are available on the free tier, because we want to make sure we get stuff that matches our free tier. We don't want to have to pay for it if we don't have to. So here we go. Just at the top is Amazon Linux. Your version may be a little bit different. Depends on how soon or later you look at this. At this point, it's going to be, you want to make sure it's a 64-bit. I think the 32s are gone. There are some other Amazon Linux instances out there. For example, this one, which is the PV, but we don't need to worry about the paravirtual type. We're going to go with the HVM. If you see here, the virtualization type, very small, but it does say HVM. That's one we want. We're going to select it. Right here, we got our 3-tier eligible. It jumps right to that. You can see there's all these other tiers out there that are not free tier eligible. And if you look at them, for example, you can look right here, memory. It gets very big, very fast. Number of CPUs. What we're going to have here is we're going to have 1 gigabyte, and we're going to have 1 CPU. They have this smaller nano. Not sure why you don't have the ability to maybe do 2 nanos, but it is what it is. They've set it up here. So your micro, you're going to have 1 CPU. You're going to want to have 1 gig of memory. If you wanted to jump up, you can see we can go to small or medium. There's also going to be, it's sort of reset. You can see down here, they go, small, medium, large. As you get into the larger thing, some further down, it's some specialization that is going to get pretty big, pretty expensive, pretty fast. So we're going to stay with our general purpose. We'll configure the launch details just because. We are going to have our default subnet is East 1B. Is that where we are? Okay, we are in US East. So let's just do this. Actually, let's go previous. So we're going to go in here and we're going to do a review and launch. We're not going to worry about the details. We can figure that out later. This will give us pretty much everything we need because this one's going to set us up as foolproof as possible. You can look here just briefly. You got some instance details. This is your storage that you're going to have. So you're going to have 8 gigabytes on the disk. And you've got some tags if you wanted to put something to tag this, to sort of name it and somehow organize. Right now, we really don't need to worry about that. We can come back to that at a later point. Security group name is Launch Wizard 1. It was just created. It was created just now. It's going to go and create our security for us. We'll go ahead and launch it. We're going to do an existing. Actually, from here, they're going to ask you about your key pairs. Let's go ahead and create a new one. We're going to create a new pair. We're going to call it. Let's call it. In my case, I'm going to do it Hockey Mom Keys. Or actually, let's do Hockey Mom. Yeah, Hockey Mom Key. We'll do Hockey Mom Book Key. You can call it whatever you want, but the important thing is that you have to download your key pair and you have to store it in a safe place. You don't get to do it again. You'll have to actually go through and recreate your whole pair. So make sure you know where these things are downloading to. So I have downloaded those down to my local machine, and I've got this instances, so I'm going to go ahead and launch them. At this point, it is working on launching it. I'm going to get some. You can see here, you can actually see right here, they give you a nice little helpful thing if you want to go create billing alerts based on this. And of course, some other information here about the free tier, connecting to your instance, and all that good stuff. We are going to go ahead and look at ours. So ours is still pending. They're working on creating it. While we do this, we are going to go over to so while we're here and waiting for our instance, which now maybe is now running, comes up pretty quick, we're going to go ahead and go. If you go down the side menu there, you're going to see Network and Security Elastic IPs. What is an IP? IP is a Internet Protocol address. It looks something like, if you look at this one, it's going to be a number like this. Typically, you got 3 periods in there, 4 up to 3-digit numbers. So it could be this, it could be pretty much anything else you want it to. Well, it's not whatever you want it to be, but it's anything from 0 to 255 for each of those 4 numbers with periods between them. That's how that's the address for the object on the internet. So if you type that IP address, it's going to try to connect to that machine depending on how you do it. So what we want to do is we want to have one that is always going to be the same IP address for our machine. So we're going to allocate a new address and allocate a new IP address by select the scope in which it will be used. We're going to go ahead and allocate. So right there, it's going to give us an address. So that's going to be the address of our server. Now, as soon as we come back from that, we want to associate that address. We're going to associate it with our instance. We only have one running, and we're going to associate it. And so now, if you look, our address, in my case, yours will be different. So I've got this number. Let's say it's the .172 number, just to try to remember that. If I go back to my instance, I'm now going to see that is its IP address. And so that is how I get to access my server. So at this point, I have set up a server. Let's see if I can. If I click on it, if I go to that, it will probably tell me nothing because I don't have a server running on it right now. I have nothing running. So if I try to go to it, it's just going to wait for a while, and it's eventually going to tell me, sorry, I can't connect. And it's almost there. So there you go. Page isn't working because I don't have anything running or listening out there. So now I can come back and I can see I have my, it's initializing my status checks, but essentially I am running my server. Everything is good there. I can connect to it. They give you some options here. If you have Java set up, you can actually do it here. If you're on Chrome, as they note, it no longer supports it, so you're pretty much hosed. But if you're on Firefox, Internet Explorer, Edge, or Safari, then you will be able to SSH into your server from the browser. If you do it from an SSH client, it's going to show you here, and that is going to be how we're going to connect. We're going to talk tomorrow about connecting using PuTTY and start setting up our server. So that's day 1 down. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you got some progress there. Feel like, hey, you've done something. You created and launched a server, and have started to get your feet wet in the world of Amazon. So come back tomorrow, and we will connect to the server and keep working on getting that thing set up. Till then, have yourself a good one.